Welcome everyone. My name is Paula Phillips, also known as Journal Artista, and we're here on Wednesday night on Ustream.tv. Um, you're more than welcome to join us. I stream every Wednesday and Saturday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Um, so I have a live chat with live people talking to me. So usually I'm talking back. Sometimes I talk to myself. So I'm going to do some coloring a little bit later. I got to show some books first, or I have to show some books first, but I've got some Prismacolor watercolors here. They don't come in too many. I think it's a 24 set. Anyways, they have the same colors as they do on the Prismacolor Premier. So I'm thinking tonight we'll color something, do a base color with the Prisma watercolor pencils, and then we'll do some shading on top. And but first, let's do a few things. I got this coloring book. Shocker. This one's called Beautiful Vintage. I don't have it in my A store yet. It's made by Barron's, which apparently I really like Barron's books. They had a couple in the range, but this is kind of the only one I liked. And they have perforated pages. Um, and it's really thick pages. But lots of them are the backgrounds are already colored, which is kind of nice because lots of times you color a nice image and then the background. I was just looking for an example. The background's white, so then you decide, should I color the background or whatnot. Yeah, my friend Eileen did a poll. I said that I'm not going to buy anything in March. So my friend Eileen took a poll on Twitter. Now I couldn't see it because on my Twitter app I use Tweetcaster and on my phone, and I couldn't see it. But apparently 30, so she put, can Paula last a whole month without spending? The two options were yes she can. The other option was she's not going to last a week. So 68% of the people said I wasn't going to last a week. So hi Emma. Okay, so a lot of them have the background. I'll just quickly go through some are black backgrounds. Look at this steampunk bird. Love that. I'm just going to quickly go through it here. I love this girl with the dress, the playing cards. She's juggling some playing cards here. Different bracelets. This book has pictures unlike any book, and I have a few coloring books, unlike any coloring book that I own. Like, wouldn't this be fun to cut out these hot air balloons, cut out and put in your art journal? So, hey Sandy, circus elephant. Like I said, there was more than one, but I really like this one. Nice shoes. But it is nice to have things in the background. Some of them are really elaborate, and some of them are not. I love this scene with the grandfather clock, and I really like that one. And this beautiful owl. I'm telling you, I have enough coloring books to last forever. Two forevers. But I can't not resist. But I'm gonna resist for all of March. All of March. Look at this nice steam engine. There's a steampunk clock with the gears in the middle. Well, if it's a clock, is it steampunk? Because clocks have gears? I'm not sure. People will in chat will let me know. Those cards. Oh, this one. See, they're all attached. That's gonna be fun to color and cut out and put in my art journal. My mom already colored this one. She has the same book. It's like a sugar skull, but they're all uh, tangled, doodled thingamadoos in it. Jesters. Well, I'm not sure they're jesters. They're rats, not tightrope walk. Oh, it's been a long time since I was at the circus. But there was a nice tree back here. Beautiful flowers. It's just a lot of different things. Another beautiful owl. Trying to be quick. Be here all night. There's this one steampunk tree. Look at how cool that is. Trapeze. Thanks, Emma. They're trapeze artists. Yeah. Hi, Ollie. Um, But this tree, like, look, it's tree with gears, it's leaves. I mean, even if you don't color it, isn't that a cool, like, that's inspiring to me, you know. I sure have a lot of gear stamps and gear die cuts and gear, steampunk everything. But wouldn't it be nice that you can either, color this and cut it out, or it gives me the idea to, draw a tree and put those gears in as leaves. Know what I mean, Vern? So it's called Beautiful Vintage by Barron's. And like I said, they have a few different ones, but yeah, Jean says sometimes you feel limited with the ones that already have color on the page because you feel like you have to use those particular colors. I agree sometimes. Plus and minuses for everything. So I bought a few books thanks to my friend Janet. I shouldn't say thanks. Not this one. I saw this one actually at the bookstore when I went to the doctor's there last week or the week before. And this is another Lee Hammond book. This one's called Drawing Realistic Clothing and People with Lee Hammond. So a lot of the coloring books I have, like I said, I'm a self-taught artist. I want to learn how to draw all that stuff. So, the folds in fabric, I have a hard time knowing where to shade when it comes to fabric. So that's what this is about. In the front, well, she talks about different, like, the basics of drawings first, and how to use a grid, anatomy, and then how to turn that anatomy into a picture. And, people, but mostly I really like, it's interesting knowing the anatomy, but talks about folds in fabric. This is what I bought it for. How, where the shading is, creating the folds and where to shade the folds and that type of thing. So I'm really gonna enjoy this book. Try to use it. I'm addicted to books. That is for sure. So a quick flip of that one. This is a Artist Network FW Media book. It doesn't have a anyway. They're not cheap. For Lee Hammond books, for some reason, are more expensive than others, but they're quality books, that's for sure. Uh, let's see. I also got, thanks to Janet, or thanks or because, I'm not sure which. So I'm really, interested. I'm interested in everything, but of course, color pencils. And so this is by Alania. I think that's how you pronounce it. Aliona Nicholson. And it's called Colored Pencil Techniques for Achieving Luminous Color and Unreal. Oh, I thought I said unrealistic. Ultra realistic. I'm not even repeating that. I mean, um, ultra realistic effects. Ultra realistic effects. So this is it. So I have some Gary Green coloring books about color pencils. And what's interesting about this one, there are a lot more words, a lot more explanation. Um, I'm sure it's not, just rambling. I'm sure they're useful words, but the Gary Green books seem to have a lot more examples and less, maybe theory. Hey, Suzanne. But this particular one sure has a lot more. Talks about focal point color theory, mixing colors with your color pencil, of course, sharpening, shadows, like drawing skills, but a lot more explanation, fusing colors, different types of techniques, scratching into it, talking about photos. I mean, beautiful artwork though. It's all color pencil. Uh, Rendering backgrounds, greenery. So it talks, she talks a lot about, well, she's explaining what she's doing, not just showing the example, but explaining why. Uh, but I think she shows in the back here, how to do silvers, more step by step silver. She's using apparently Prismacolors, different types of textures. That was wood grain, a pearlescent effect, glass. This one's cut crystal, rendering fabric. Um, so there's those explanations, and then there's some still life. But again, a lot more words, explaining what she's doing, right? So there's exercises in the back, which are really cool. Once she explains everything, it's a really thick book, a really thick book. So I'm gonna have fun learning about and practicing this stuff. I sure have a lot of different color pencil. Um, well, I have a lot of different books, I suppose, of every book, unfortunately, or fortunately. So she has a look. What is this? A glossary, an appendix of all the different color pencils. Here's the color Caran d'Ache Pablos. The base is oil, 120 colors, and it shows different light fasts and what it is on the color index. So there's lots of different ones there. So it's again, this isn't cheap. This book was $25.99 in the U.S. But lots of interesting. I like when somebody explains it. Part of the reason why I don't edit my videos. I like to see more. If I'm watching somebody else, I want to see what they're explaining. So the last book Janet made me buy is called The Amazing Crayon Drawing, again with Lee Hammond, who did that. She has a ton of books and DVDs through theartistnetwork.com, where you can see my DVD. If you search Paula Phillips, I have one called Layered Backgrounds and Textures and Backgrounds. I taped it a few years ago, so it's been a while. Hey Carol, now this blew my mind. They're using actual crayons, not pencil crayons, although the techniques can carry over to pencil crayons, or just if you're using pencils. Sorry, it's a little cold in my room over here, but it blew my mind how amazing these drawings, artwork can be with Crayola crayons, literally Crayola crayons. So she has lots of explanations, and then of course, color wheel and stuff, and how to shade different spheres and cones, cylinders. Um, she talks a lot about grid drawing again, and what's fun is that it has a 1 inch by 1 inch grid in the back. Of course, you can make one pretty easily, but there's a nice one that you can use for your photo reference. I'm keeping my finger there for a second. So you can look at plums, right? Step by step. She actually tells you the colors. I'll talk about that in a second. She talks about having really good paper like Stonehenge, and I was reading up on it. They do sell Stonehenge paper in Canada at Curry's, but apparently it's not cheap. But lots of times with the paper, I know for watercolor, brushes and paper sure counts. Sure reflects in your final result. But it's not like how we color, when we were kids. Like, this is amazing. I really like this book. And you'll see here in a second. I like all my books. I say that for everything. But, she goes over the layering techniques and how to do realistic. I mean, it's not amazing. This is crayons. Like, crayons. Beautiful eagle. And not just that, but how to graph it out, right? Create a line drawing using the graph, and then step by step. I always say the hardest part for me is knowing whether it's color pencil or obviously crayons, is knowing if I'm shading or if I'm trying to do something realistic like this, even if it's watercolor, any media. It's hard, as a self-taught artist, to know which colors to put down first, right? Do you do darks? Do you do lights? And actually, with the media, whatever media you're using, there's differences. Now, look at this lion. It's a panther. Lion, tiger, panther. Oh, sweet loving goodness. It's mind-boggling. Crayolas. I mean, look at that eye. Who would have thought that you can get this eye with Crayola crayons? Blows my mind. If you use, now that's a lion for sure. A ram, you know, a face, Jack Nicholson and Samuel Clemens, you know, babies, women, flamingo, and that's a gallery of her work. But unbelievable, unbelievable. So here is the swatches she used with the color Crayolas. And at this time, I think this book was published in 2008. And I was saying to someone earlier, or to you guys earlier, that I don't know if they changed colors. I know they retire colors. Like, I don't see macaroni and cheese in here. Oh yeah, macaroni and cheese. Made a liar out of me. So I went crazy last night, literally crazy. This is the book I use for, and it is in my A store. It's called Freestyle Really Big Notebook. I think Miss Vicky B, of course, enabled me. So last night I swatched all my crayons. All my crayons. Now, over the years, I think some of them fell out. I don't think it's the whole set. Some of them are old. So, for example, because here they are. I color coded my bad boys. Color coded. I grumped. Grouped them by color after I swatched them. But some of them are old. I mean, I don't know how old, but let me see if I can see it on a brighter color here. So I could tell that this particular one, this bigger logo, is older than the new logo. This is the logo they use right now. So I know that I've had these bad boys for a while compared to these ones. But I only had very few of the newer ones, and I don't think I have all the colors. So, I got to go out and buy the 150 set now. You can buy them at Michael's at pretty cheap, but then I realized, so as I said, but some of these aren't what I have in there. My chat keeps splitting. I can see my chat list go up and down. So I apologize if I'm missing anyone's questions or whatnot. So for example, blue violet, I put O. I don't know if you can see this, guys, see this clearly, but I put O for old and N for new. And sometimes there might be the slightest shade off, the slightest difference in color, but that could be just the batches, right? The batch number. So yeah, I swatched them because of this book, and I'm gonna try some. Maybe not tonight. Don't go nuts. Not tonight. So I really suggest this book. How fun is this? And like I said, this is layering. These are layering techniques that you can transfer to color pencil work as well. But when you use oh Sherry, I haven't shown you when Crayola came out. I'll just do a quick side note here. When Crayola came out, with when they celebrated their 100-year anniversary. I don't know if it was only in Canada. They came out with 4 different sets of 4 different logos. I've been treasuring. They're not open. These big sets that have tins with the crayons with that logo, and then the retired colors and these fancy sets. I know one day I'm gonna take a picture for Sherry. Anyways, it's nice. Again, this book, Lee Hammond books aren't are pretty. This one was $25.99 in Canada, $22.99 in the US. But this is an awesome book. And then you don't feel like I can buy a whole set of 100 and whatever 50 crayons, whatever many colors they have, for the same price as about 3 Pablos or 3 Luminance pencils. So speaking of which, I thought tonight, and I know you guys, this is that happiness coloring book, and it's Happiness, Happinez. I have not, hi Colleen, by the way, I have not seen the Crayola coloring books in the store yet. Yep, we all love the scent of Crayolas. My friend Linda says, Hello, my name is Linda, and it's been 2 days since I sniffed my crayons. We're a bunch of sniffers. Some people lick art supplies. Other people just sniff. Okay, that was a sidetrack. So I figured tonight we'll do a mandala. Um, maybe this one. So, as I said earlier, I've got some Prismacolor watercolor pencils here, which are again the same. I haven't used them. I've swatched the bad boys, but I haven't tried them yet. So I thought it'd be fun to do a page in here. Maybe I should do a small one. Talking to myself, hold the fort. In one of these color Z ones, but maybe you can't see it that well if I'll do a bigger one. Whether we get through it, but I thought it would be fun to do a base color with the watercolor pencils and then try to shade on top. Drink some coffee, Paula. My pug, my wonderful friend Glenda, I was in a secret sister swap, and I was her secret sister, and she gave me a pug mandala book, but it's in the living room. So. And to be honest, the paper in that particular book, because every coloring book has different papers, but the paper in that particular book, I don't think would be good for wet media. And just whether you like mandalas or not, that's what this show is about. I just find mandalas are good to to show different shading things. It's a nice big paisley, but I don't want one that's too I'm not going to do those flowers because I'm just not quite confident to do that on stream. I don't want to do one that's too complicated, that has too many thingamadoos sections. So I guess we'll try this one. So I'm gonna zoom in. Yeah, if you want to look at the Pug Mandala book, I have it recorded, that from my stream that I did earlier of opening the Secret Sister box. All right, that looks pretty good, I think. All right. Hi, Galena. My hands are not steady, so this could be an interesting night. All right. So, watercolor crayons. Let's talk about that first. For me, here's what I used to do with watercolor crayons, and then I'd wonder why they didn't work. I'll just use a little tag here, which isn't going to show the right color, but you know what I mean. This one is violet blue, violet blue. So here's how I would used to use them. Can you see that? I used to go with this heavy hand, and then I would be like, these are my friend Zandra, who's Zandra17 here on Ustream. Zandra with a Z. She gave me these Prima ones, and I've never used the Prima watercolor brushes, so this should be interesting. So I used to do such a hard, line, and then say to myself, why is it not blending? Whether it was Inktense or whatnot, right? I didn't. So apparently, the real way you're supposed to use it, I guess you could, not the real way. I suppose you can. You got the 100 Girls on Cheap Paper? Did Xandra find it too? We're talking about books again. All right. So apparently, the way you're supposed to do it is with a really light, you know, color the whole thing with a light touch, and then go over it with your water so that you get a smooth wash. Whether that's true or not, we're going to try it out. Yeah, there's some risque pages, Colleen. I don't know if I was even recorded when I showed that particular book. All right, so I did swatch these bad boys as well. So these are Prismacolor watercolor. So if we look at this, lots of times, look, with this particular book, I go off. Okay, there's lots of purples in this book, so maybe I'll use purples. I think I'm going to start with this outside one. Well, I'll do the inside lighter purple and then maybe the outside darker purple. So if we look at purples, I got violet, lilac, and mulberry. So inside, let's do violet, and maybe outside we'll do mulberry. How about that? Violet. It's, for me, swatching, lots of people don't like swatching, but I have to swatch everything, you know. That's just the way I am. Obviously, if I swatched crayons for crying out loud, but Bic, Jelly Rolls, Prismacolor, Caran d'Ache Pablos, Faber-Castell Polychromos, my Scholars, well, I gave up on the Neocolor. Oops, I can't even show. I'm not even in the camera. Um, it's going to take me a while to do the Neocolor too. So let us see. Different color. So I'll go back to the Prisma. What did I say? Violet. Violet. So my purple. This was I just using violet? No, I was using violet blue. Doo, doo, doo. So hopefully it'll be interesting for everyone tonight and you'll enjoy it. There's mulberry, white, violet. Now, like I said, this is the first time I'm using them. So this could be interesting. This could be interesting. I don't know what you guys are talking about in chat. Oh, 100 girls on cheap paper. All right. So I'm just going to try to do a light. Can you see? Should I go closer? The problem is if I'm not used to, everybody knows, if I'm working in an art journal, whatever I'm working on, um, I'm not used to being so close. So lots of times they end up out of camera. I apologize. I'm working on that. So this is just going to be, and I know I'm probably going too thick in some parts, but like anything, you need practice, right? You got to practice. I'm just going to practice live. Hey, Julie. I'm just going to do it live in front of everyone. My wonderful friend Music Scrap Jean, also here on Ustream, and she has on YouTube as well. She uploads her videos on YouTube, but it's Music Scrap without the A, SCRP. And she did an awesome coloring book page. She colored it on Saturday, and then her normal stream time is Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and she put it in her art journal. Oh my gosh. It was this page that had rays coming out of it, and then she extended the rays into her art journal page. You have to watch it. Oh, it was awesome. She used some Neocolor 2s to color that, but she colored live on camera. So I'm going to color this whole thing, and then we're going to shade, as I said. We'll test it out. I might have to bring out my ginormous sketchbook that I have all my Prismacolors swatched in there. I'm still working on swatching them in that smaller book. The smaller book I keep out, I do a lot of my coloring in the living room. It's like to say on the couch while I'm watching TV. I might, I might, I'm going all in one direction. But I might have to try doing different cross hatching. And as I suggested to one of my friends, the other day, for me, I have to try everything. I have to try going one way, cross hatching, little circles, see what works well for you. I'm not throwing any shade on mandalas. Did I? Oh, I'm going to shade on my mandala. Oh my. I threw some shade at a manufacturer. And I didn't delete the tweet, but um I guess that wasn't, throwing shade would have been like with the other videos, and I won't say the manufacturer here, but uh as most people know, I used to be a safety manager, and I can't not I'm trained to see unsafe procedures or unsafe acts. So when this manufacturer posts some vines or these, these small videos of their factory, of their machines producing their product, you see people reaching into machines, and I cringe. Like, I'm like, where's OSHA? If you're going to post videos, anyway, um, So that would have been throwing shade if I said, why the heck do you not guard that machine? Why is that person's PPE not on property? So I wouldn't, that's shade. But for me, finally, they showed a video the other week, some earlier this week, and they had a guard on the machine. So I said, I tweeted them. It's probably terrible. You'll have to tell me. Hi, Di. Hi, Gracie. Um, Maybe I shouldn't have, but I said, awesome to see, awesome to see the process and that your machine has a guard. Awesome to see the machine guard. I'm laughing, but maybe this is terrible for me to say. But then, I said this ex safety manager loves your products. I do, but I just can't help it. Right? They had this one picture of a guy. I should stop. I should stop while I'm ahead. People are probably saying, what the heck is wrong with this woman? I just can't not see it. I guess to most people they don't see the safety hazard, but to me, anyways, let's talk about something else. All right. I do love the company and their products, that's for sure. Maybe they need a new safety manager. And I tweeted afterwards, maybe I should go get a safety manager job again. Maybe, and that was guys, when I do something not mindless, coloring's not mindless, but when I do something like this where I'm not explaining what I'm doing like normal shows, um, I know they have safety rules for good reasons, believe me. And lots of times, I'm not speaking about this particular company, but I mean, accidents have to happen in any in any, you know, business, especially in manufacturing. It unfortunately takes somebody to get hurt before they implement new safety procedures or guard machines or whatnot. Um, and I did take the OSHA 40-hour course. I was certified by OSHA. Um, yeah, that's what's unfortunate. Somebody has to get hurt before they implement, you know, different laws. So anyways, what I was saying was when I do something like this where I'm not explaining what I'm doing, I just run my mouth. Sometimes positive things. Yeah. So, but maybe I do need to go back to safety manager. I was reading in the as I said, I'm reading the Brené Brown books. I finished the first one, The Gift of Imperfection. Now I'm on the second one that's called Daring Greatly. But she talks about something that you can have two passions, you know, and I think since I've lost my job, it's been 3 years that the plant I worked in shut down. Um, and I've been torn between art and safety. And I keep saying to you guys that like I said, I can't not see safety. I can't pass a construction site without seeing if they have their safety harness on or whatever. It's just it's a natural thing. I can't stop. So maybe like this book says, maybe you can have two passions, and you don't have to serve one and not the other. It doesn't mean that you have to only be an artist or only be a safety manager, right? You can do both if that's, a lot of people. I've struggled with that, I suppose, for the last 3 years myself. Yes, I'm passionate about art, but obviously I'm also passionate about safety. My viewer count's going down by this. Oh, Eileen has two passions, buying and more buying. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I got the first layer. If anyone has any questions or wants me to talk about something else, please feel free. Because obviously, if you let me go, but like I said, I do want my streams to be positive and all that stuff. But I don't even know how I got talking about safety again. All right. So yeah, I'm really going lightly. Very, very lightly. And that's what'll be interesting to practice. So for example, I don't even know if you can see Veronica has two passions, art and food. And books. Yeah, that's three passions. My goodness. Then I have about four passions. Book, art supplies, all this stuff. Um, so let's see. Here I have a very light touch. I don't know if you can even see the purple on camera, to be honest. Uh, and then maybe in the next, what under these, ugh, maybe on some of the inner rings or outer rings, I can try doing maybe two coats of the purple. Do two layers, light layers is what I'm talking about. Not wetting in between. Um, Eileen wants me to talk about some coffee chews that she tweeted me. I didn't look at it too hard. I don't know what it was. It looked disgusting. It was some type of new product. All right, so let's talk about water brushes before I do this. My wonderful friend Zandra, as I said, Zandra17 here, sent me these two Prima Marketing water brushes. There's two different sizes here. But I also have a ton of other ones. I have Sakura, I have Kuretake, and they have the really cheap ones. I mean, you have to buy supplies that you can afford, but I honestly believe that you should save up because these ones you can buy a set of three. There's no, as Rain was telling me earlier, valve. It's just water and this. And when I've tried to use them with some of my watercolors before, it's actually sucked it back up, which could be some cool effects, don't get me wrong. But it's yeah, you won't I wasn't happy with those brushes. But like I said, I've got quite a few different ones. And they all have different size tips. They all work a little bit different, but you see how thin this tip is? This is the finest. I don't know if I'm clear or not, but let me tell you, it's the finest water brush. If I'm going to use, which one am I going to use to that Sandra gave me? The bigger one. If I'm going to use the bigger one, look at the difference. Ooh, in camera. I mean, huge diff. This is like a feather. This is tiny, but sometimes that's why I need more than one, right? You need one. And there's also Pentel ones, lots of different water brushes. Everyone has their favorites and, you know, not. I guess I suppose it's user, right? It all depends on um how you want to use it. I'm actually going to use the smaller one here. Of course, you can dip your brush in water and do the same thing, but I'm going to I've been using Kuretake ones the most. This is the first time I'm using Prima. But of course, I mean, I have a lot of Sakura ones as well. My Koi watercolor pocket pocket set comes with a tiny brush. Can you even see how that's looking? So I really went with a light layer on this. Really light. Now, I didn't really test. Uh-oh, it's almost going right through the page. Hold the fort. I need to get a piece of thin I need to get a piece of smooth cardstock to put underneath. Some, like depending what you're coloring, obviously this coloring book page, I have to be careful how wet I do this now. I have to be careful that I don't go too many strokes. These are Prisma watercolor pencils. Can you even see it? I'll have to maybe bring it up closer to the camera. But I can already tell that I probably should have put two layers of this color. It's very light. Not that you can't do it once this is dissolved, right? I can dry it and do another coat. So let's just quickly block this in. It actually goes pretty quick if I press down. I don't know if you can tell I'm pressing down on my water brush. So for the inner layers, we for sure will have to go a couple different. We'll have to use the pencil a few times. Oh, not too bad over here. Just I'm not going to do too many swipes with the water brush, that's for sure. And when you have a good quality water brush, like you have this buffer, um, the real fine, tiny water brush is a Curataki. Hold the fort. Where did it go? This one? Sakura. It's a Sakura one. You can buy them at sets. I mean, I think Kuretake. See, Kuretake, that's a fine one. Kuretake has much. They have smaller tips one as well. Oh, good. You can see them without water. It's very light, so I was just. All the ones I have different size tips on them, but I've had the most luck with Kuretake's. But I know our friend Dee, who's Inkwell here. She uses Pentel. The brush tip on these are nice. I know that Tim Holtz Ranger sells some as well. I don't know who makes them. I didn't buy any. This is a nice tip though. This is flexible. I haven't had to squeeze my water brush at all. It just flows nicely out of the brush. Like I say, you can go really fast by not just using the tip of the brush, but letting it come out like that. All right, let's see. I think I got every spot. Did I get every spot? I'm looking at the back because it's light. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see where did I. Let's just test. Are they all wet? Hard to tell. It's so light. Definitely gonna have to go heavy-handed. Let's do one in the middle. Let's see. I'm just gonna do a different color. Oh, you know what? We should just do the same one, the violet. Let's use the same violet, just deeper, a darker one. So let me see if I can do some cross hatching in the middle here. That should give me a. Am I on camera? Yeah. And then when we dissolve it, then we'll see if it looks darker. Like I said, I'm doing this for the first time. And as I always like to say, if I can do this live in front of how many people we got? 70 something people. You for sure can try it yourself in the privacy of your own art room. And that's why I've always loved coloring, of course, as so many of us here have. But so I'll go the other way. But I really love these coloring books because it's such a great way to practice, without worrying about drawing. Not that I don't want to, learn how to draw as well, but and plus, I just think it's fun. But I'm really having a good time learning about the properties and all that stuff. Night, Debbie. Hi, Miko. Miko, my friend. You didn't see my Crayola crayon swatches that I did. Miko loves to swatch. I swatched my Crayola crayons. That's obsessive. No. I only swatched them because of that book, I promise. Not because I feel the itch to swatch. But once I have a tool that I'm going to use, a media that I'm going to use, like these for like these Prismacolor watercolor crayons. I mean, you can do this with Inktense, whatever you got going. But I thought it would be fun to, because they're similar colors, to see what it looks like, the blending looks like on top of these. So I'm being very light. But obviously I have to be darker than what I did around here. I can see brushstrokes. Anyway, we're practicing, having some fun. That would be a switch, the itch to swatch. Swatch itch. You guys are just trying to get me to say that because it's a tongue twister. I think I'm like, what, up to 3 layers now? I'm holding my breath too, just like the... Oh boy. But one thing it's hard, you guys can all talk about me in chat because it's very hard. Night, Sandy? It's very hard to color and read chat at the same time. All right. I forgot where I've crosshatched now, so basically I'm just going willy-nilly with it now. All right. So that's definitely darker, right? I might want to see a doctor for my swatch itch. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I have had people, I don't know if they're joking or not. They want me to scan my swatches. But the thing is, you have to do it yourself because you have to swatch it the way you're going to use it. You know what I mean, Vern? Part of me swatching, for example, all of my Prismacolor Premiers or any of the pencils that I have is because just practicing the pressure of it, like how much pressure I use. So it's a little bit darker. So let's see what happens when we dissolve it. I'm not even sure if I dissolved everything down here. I guess it was too light of a wash. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, and color printers aren't true, and nor is scanning. Oh yeah, that's much darker. Much darker and much evener. Much more even. Again, I'm trying not to put as much pressure on it. And if you don't, I mean, if you don't have Prismacolor, use whatever watercolor pencils you got. I just thought it would be fun to really see, not the difference, but how they react with the colors that they're supposed to look like. That's a lot darker. It might, you guys have to tell me because it might, sorry, my arm. My computer screen, it just looks white to me. But that's not just darker, but for sure a lot more even than the outside. Yeah, so do I, Ellie, like the middle better. Let's see if it went down to the other. So, you know, it took more time, but the word, like, it's very even. I keep repeating myself. I found that recently. So that's not very dark. I should probably go back to look at my swatches over here. Well, that's the darkest purple I've got going. I will do some of these outer rings yellow, because that's the complementary color. But I want to put blue on there for some weird reason. Well, you know what we should do? I'm going to dry this with a heat gun, and I'm going to go over another layer of these and see what the different, see how it looks there. I hope when I do these type of things and test out products and test different ways to do it, that it helps you guys. Heat gun. Well, you know what I should do first? I'll get my Prismas. Let us find the violet in the Prismacolor. That's lilac. Violet. You know, it'll be interesting to see. Let's do it on this little piece of paper beside us. If I go lightly with the violet, if I bear down, it looks like this. And if I go lightly, it looks like that. So we'll see. Can you see a difference in camera? It is a little bit darker, I suppose. Maybe more of a rich color. If I crosshatch over here, it's going to just get darker and darker. So definitely I could use this particular color just to shade on top. But it's definitely similar, in my humble opinion. but I guess it depends on how. Oh, here's a good test. Where's the violet? If I use it without dissolve, that can't be right. No, violet blue. Like that doesn't look like it. That can't be right because it's the wrong color. So if I swatch it beside, if I bear down, looks like that. I don't know, can you see this at all? And if I go lightly and do the, so I don't know if you can see, can you see a difference? Tiny bit, but could be just my, can't watch chat coloring. So it's a little bit, again, it's hard for me to tell what you guys see. I apologize. All right. So put that there for a minute. Go back to drawing this bad boy. He done. Blondie G. Gotta make sure it's dry, or it'll really be poking a hole right through our paper. I'm so happy everyone's here tonight. I'm so glad the internet is working for us. It's a good time all around. All right, so I'm going to try to do, I need to put this violet blue away or I will be using it. Not that I shouldn't, maybe I'll use that in the center, but I don't want to use it at this particular point. All right, I might have to sharpen my pencil. My favorite electric tool is in the living room. Hi, Marie. All right, so am I using the right one? Yeah. Rats. I didn't want to do, I mean, you don't have to dissolve this, right? Nobody's saying that you have to put the pencil down and dissolve it. I'm sure, I just put a layer on. Maybe I won't dissolve it here in the middle. I'll just do some shading on the top. What do you guys think? You know, from where maybe I use the water brush, it's definitely different. It's definitely more streaky, right? So I can always use this first layer um, with the watercolor pencil to even out the streaks before we blend stuff on top of it. See how that works. But I really want to do another layer of watercolor pencil on top of there. But I've really been practicing about with how much pressure to use and all that good stuff. I'm really enjoying it. And as I said before, like when it's a coloring book, something like this, I can do it while watching TV, something to do, you know. I used to do, of course, lots of art on the couch. I mean, I used to, when I broke my ankle, oh boy, it's got to be close to 7 years now. I did all my arting on the couch for a long time. And then, I kind of got used to it. So I was arting on the couch. I'm going to do some cross hatching here as well. Even when I was, here, and of course my foot was fully healed. But it ends up, yeah, I ended up having a lot of supplies out near my couch in the living room. And if you're coloring like this or practicing or whatever you do, they you don't have to have too many supplies out there while you're doing it. Eileen, oh no, Galina. Hope everything's okay. Oh boy, that's bad news. So yeah, you can have minimal supplies and still do something really creative and be a little productive while watching TV. You know what I mean, Vern? So tomorrow I am going to start being 100% committed to losing the 30 pounds I've gained and becoming fit and healthy again. So I'm sure it was because of my dream about Patty. I dreamt, I dreamt Patty was eating healthy and I was eating McDonald's. Strange dreams, strange dreams. Anyway, which means I have to gobble up these delicious Trader Joe's chocolate bars the wonderful Glenda sent me. But yeah, for me, I keep saying enough is enough, and I'm the type that I really, as some of you know, I'm an all or nothing type person, right? When I'm committed to something and 100% committed, I'm 100% committed. So I am going to utilize the tools I already have. You didn't hear my story, Patty? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I had a dream that I was at Patty's house. My friend Inky Obsessions, INKY Obsessions. She's over here, Patty Tolly Parish, on Ustream as well as YouTube. So, anyways, I'd been to Patty's house when we were in Maryland last year for the uh, art weekend, but this time I was there with Simon, my boyfriend, and oh my gosh, I don't know, for some reason there was a McDonald's. You could see a McDonald's outside Patty's kitchen window, which there's no McDonald's outside kitchen window. So here was Patty eating avocado and chicken or something, and Simon and I were eating McDonald's. And then in my head, in the dream, I guess it was a lucid dream. In my head, in the dream, I was calculating how much weight I can lose before our Maryland trip this July. So I'm like, this has got to be a sign. Sign from Patty. Yeah, it's all the magic coffee from McDonald's. No, can't tell you the last time I ate McDonald's, but I've sure been eating a lot of fast food and stuff. I mean, like I've said before on here, I can blame my medication, which may have had a part of the reason why I gained 30 pounds, but really it was me not doing what I need to be doing. And it's holding back because let me tell you, what I was writing in my journal this morning is that I have to remember how I felt then. I felt fantastic when I was eating, you know, when I was eating, I don't want to say proper foods, that's not the right term. When I was eating more healthy foods than I've been eating and exercising, like I felt amazing. So I have to, and I don't mean I felt good because I was a certain size of clothing. I meant the actual physical feeling of, the adrenaline from working out for me, as well as how good my body felt eating much more fruits and vegetables. So, anyways, I'm not preaching at anybody. I'm just saying for me, I'm back on the bandwagon. I'm on the coloring book bandwagon, but I'm losing viewers by the second. Not that it bothers me. I'm gonna say whatever. It's my show. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. It's about time, and I just want to be healthy again, both in mind and in physical. Mind, spirit, and body. But I mean, also for you know, my mental illnesses, I, I mean, there's nothing better for than exercise. So that's what's gonna go on here. Can't talk coloring. I'm almost done this layer. Everybody's talking about coffee now. Which coffee they like the best. I was wondering that Ange and I were talking earlier whether the McDonald's coffee in Canada, I'm wondering if it is the same grounds drying the same coffee beans as it is in Canada. All right, almost done. So like I said, if when I'm doing not mindless, but when I'm not explaining what I have to do, I just go on all these rants are not the right word, but I just start talking about my life. So if anybody has something else they want to ask me, questions, whether it's art related or what, it would be fun to hear. I know lots of people ask me about what my favorite brand of color pencil crayon is, and the more I use my Pablos and polychromos, um, I'm really liking the oil based versus the wax based. Not that I don't like all my color pencils, don't get me wrong, but I find I can get a smoother blend. Maybe it's just the way that I use my color pencils. Um, yeah, I'm not even wearing my Fitbit anymore. It's that bad, Marie. So if I don't move exactly, if I want to just call her out, but if I don't move at all, if I don't leave my house, well, I walk the dog, so I may get about 3,000 steps in a day. Um, yeah, but if I don't walk the dogs, for example, I don't even hit 1,000. Not even close, because I keep saying my apartment's so small, I can do 10 steps. I can go 10 steps anywhere. But so I need and like I said, I just feel better. It's mentally and physically, if I move, I feel better. So I need to just remind myself of those benefits. Like I say, I'm not no judgment on anyone else. It's just what I'm going to do. Uh yeah, so I was saying about color pencil. I'm still testing, of course, but I can find I get a smoother blend. But as I said, it depends on the way, maybe it depends on the way that I'm actually coloring. Um, whether it's cross hatching or the way I layer them or whatnot. And I'm still working all that stuff out, of course. So I've just been practicing with my oils more. But when we did this test, I could flip back to the other page. The other whenever I did a little impromptu stream, we were testing on top of a we were testing a colored pencils on top of, and my American friends have got me saying colored pencils almost exclusively rather than, as us Canadians say pencil crayons. Anyways, we won't go there. Uh, I was using it on top of a acrylic craft paint wash, and I'm come to the conclusion that oil-based pencils don't do so well with the tooth of acrylic wash. And maybe I had too thick of a wash, so I definitely still have to test that out. But the Pablos, when I was using the Caran d'Ache Pablos, which are oil-based, um, they just didn't blend at all on top of the craft paint. But the wax-based pencils, like the uh, Prismacolor Premiers, looked amazing on top of it. So, all right, does that look darker to you? When I actually, so right now, like I said, my apartment's tiny, but I buy a step. I have a little, like an old-fashioned step, aerobic step, and I just up and down while watching TV. Of course, I have I have weights in here so I can lift. I have, anyway, I just do what I can. Sometimes I just march in place. Sometimes I do, like this. One leg, two legs. Sometimes I do the electric slide. Electric slide. Heat gun. Oh my goodness. Thanks, everyone. So, if it's cold outside, I don't have an excuse. The step, I think it was called actually the step. And it's a small one, it's only square. And, it has risers. So right now, because I haven't done any exercise in a long time, I'm just going to do the first riser. Maybe not even, maybe just marching in place. And then you can do the first riser, and then you can go to the second one, or you can do high into, anyways, we won't go into that. So I don't, um, if I don't want to risk the cold or go to the gym or take the bus to the gym, then I can do some stuff in my little house. I just have to be careful though, because some parts of my house only have 6-foot ceilings. I learned the hard way. To make sure where my step was, I banged my head. Excuse me, I banged my head that one day. Let me tell you, my friends, it was bad news. When I say I banged my head, I mean I took a step. I took a step and hit my head on the ceiling. Is there a pool at the hotel in Maryland? Oh, that's a good question. Is Patty still here? I didn't go to the gym, which was terrible. Didn't really have time. Oh, everyone's saying yes. Yes, there is. Everyone in chat. Okay, so this time I'm going to do blue violet. Do we have, what time is it? It's already been an hour. What do you guys think? Should I do another color in the middle, or do you really want me to see me shade already? I'll take a poll while I take a sip of coffee. Yeah, working out in a pool is fantastic, Marie, for sure. Yeah, sit and be fit. That's great. And there was in Canada, it, Jean, is even at the word? There is um there's a show on TV. I think it's called Sit and Be Fit. Might be an American show on PBS. But I'm not going to preach, but um we want to see shading. Yeah, let's do some shading, and then if we have time we'll go back to the watercolor. But truthfully, you know, food is 80%, exercise is 20%. And you see some experts say 75-25 or 85-15, but really your diet, when you talk about weight loss anyways, it's the diet. And if anybody wonders why I did take a personal, became a personal trainer, so I mean it lapsed now and whatever. So I honestly do know what I'm talking about. All right. Not that I'm giving specific help to people, I'm just relating. Um, I believe that you should go to the doctor, truly go to the doctor, for sure, before you do any type of activity that you're not used to. See if you get clearance from your doctor. Okay, so I have the, where did it go? Oh, there it is. So the way I look at shading, uh, yes, called the DVD set. Yeah, I've seen it on TV. I would try, yeah, but like I said, any is true, anytime, but eating is the most important part. Um, what you choose to eat. Okay, so whenever I look at something that I'm going to shade, I get out my colors. So this, I make sure that I have a color. The first color that I go with is the base color, right? So what color do I have that's closest to the wash or marker or whatever I did? This is how I uh this is just how I do it. I don't know if it's right or wrong or sideways, but this is just how I explain it. So, for example, because we used violet, I mean not with a quite heavy hand, right? But with a light hand, that's the closest color to what I've got down in the, and if you use marker, of course, I choose what color. And then I go into my colors, to whether I'm looking, I mean I could be looking at a swatch or whatnot, and I look for what is the mid tone and what's a darker Tone might not even be the right word. What is the light, what is the middle color and what is the lighter color? So this is a black grape. These are Prismacolors I'm using. Premiers. Black raspberry. And I just kind of look at what goes well together. So can you guys see those colors? Hey Pam, if you can see these, I don't know if what you see on camera, but so this black grape, this is violet blue. It doesn't quite go with the whole, it's a different, what am I trying to say? Number one, you have to use whatever you have, but it's more blue, right? We want to look for purples. And then if you look at this, it's too red. Hey Sin. So this deep, what color is this? Dark purple. Is that what I just had? Oh yeah, that looks, well, I'm not sure if it's a real big deal. Dahlia purple, pinkish. And to be honest, if I'm doing black cherry, if I'm doing a mandala that I like, I'm just gonna go through this again. So I got black cherry, dark purple. What happened to my violet? There it is. So I choose the colors I think that'll be close, and then I just make sure I test them out again. But when I'm doing mandalas or something, I like to put dark. I like to be really dark. I'll actually put black. So dark cherry. Now I need something in the middle. Black cherry. That's good enough. Use whatever purples you got going on, right? Like don't feel like you have to have the ginormous Prismacolor set to to do this. I just like to have 3 different colors to shade, but that's just a personal thing. But I mean, using 2 colors in a set and black, I actually do need to get out the black. I find helps a lot. Now, where did it go? Oh, this is a polychromos tin. My wonderful friend Colleen, who's Scrap Chic, CHIC, gave me the hint, right? The colors that I'm using all the time. Here's black. Whether it's marker or if I'm working on a page, then I keep them in this little tin, which is like I say, normally out in the living room area. Okay, so I already got a base color down there. I don't need to use so I'm going to go with a darker color. Let me think. So the fun thing about mandalas is that you can go, I think it's fully dry. You can, back to my page here. It's a mandala, so you can choose which way to shade. If I want to go in, right, I can go dark at the tips and bring it in, or I can decide to go dark that way and go out, So I think I'll do this one that way, which means I want that tip dark. I'm going to do dark on the outside. So darkest color, black grape, violet, cherry. Now I've already forgotten which ones are the darker ones. Alright, those 2 are the darkest. I'm going to go back and forth between. Still forgot. This is the darkest. Alright, everybody ready? Let's see. So I've read some books, especially, or maybe I've watched some videos on YouTube or whatnot, that says that, sometimes you crosshatch, but if you're going directional, like a flower petals, then you're supposed to go in the direction of the petal. But nothing's stopping me from doing some crosshatching. But like I said, that's what's the most fun for me, seeing what works, what the difference between all these ways, right? Sometimes I do it all in one thing. I'm going to do some circles, but I'm just doing really light strokes, folks. So that's the darkest color. This is the mid-tone. Tone might not be the word. The middle color I need to learn all these not fancy, but all the proper words. But I've been, like I said, I've been having a good time learning how much of a light, you know, how much pressure to put on the pencil or not put on the pencil. Um, for me, that's the hardest thing about this coloring business is getting, well, first choosing the colors, of course, I always say, but trying to figure out how much pressure to put down. And one thing, truly, some of these pencils are the first time I'm using this particular colors. And Night Cindy. So one thing, once I got my electric pencil sharpener, which I said is unfortunately not in my room right now, because it makes such a fine point, and I mean the sharpest point going, so sharp you got to be careful not to stab yourself. Uh, so literally, you can't put a lot of pressure on it. It's impossible, or the lead will break, right? You'll have a piece flying across the room. It's censored because it's thinking that it's a it's just at whatever, whether it's Gmail. Just say that it's just type in what's after the at, Yahoo, Gmail, whatever you got going on. All right, so then if I think, oh, it's not dark enough in the middle, or, at the darkest where I want it to be the darkest, then I just go back and add more light layers in the dark part. I mean, you can be as, you know, my friend Dee Dee Inkwell I keep talking about, she always says it's your coloring book. It's just a coloring book. You don't have to spend hours, but for me it's practice. I want to practice blending, finely like this to have a seamless blend. And I'm not, you know, like I said, I'm a student of Dee Dee, so I'm trying not to use, not that it's bad, but I haven't practiced with any type of solvent or blending pencil or whatever. I'm just blending with this. Can you guys see enough? Should I go close? Janice says, one suggestion that helped me was where you hold the pencil. For sure. That's very true, Janice. If you hold it out, now is this my mid-tone? Yeah. If you hold it out here, you definitely can get lighter. But the problem is, if you got a shaky hand like me, look at it. Well, that means I don't even have to I don't even have to move my pencil. It'll move itself. But it's very hard for me to control out here because I have real shaky hands, and then that's, bad news. So I have to hold it. It's a great tip. Great tip, Janice. You're absolutely right. Just for me, I can't. I have a hard time. But still, I am holding it in the middle somewhere compared to down here. Down here, for sure, at the very tip of it, you're gonna have a harder touch. But like I said, you don't have to finely blend like this if you don't want to. It's just that's what I like to do. I like to practice this way. And like some of my friends say, I may get a little obsessive with it because I'm constantly playing with it, saying, oh, that's not blended enough, add another layer, especially when you work on camera like this, right? When you just like any other art, if you take a picture of it and look at the picture, or you look on camera like I'm doing on my screen here, then you see all the imperfections. Not that it's imperfect, you know what I mean. Okay, so if I get it to this point, excuse me, I take a little sip of my coffee in my fancy Starbucks Valentine's Day mug. I love it. I don't suggest tipping your coffee like that when you're coloring. So because I like it to pop, so if you look at some of my other mandalas that I've actually done in here, for example, this, I've actually put a little, so here I've only shaded the blue from the tip out here and the tips right here. but I put the tiniest bit of black on the tips or in the tips, you know, these these right here, even though you can't tell because I blended it out. But I find if you're using mandalas or, you know, whatever you want to color, if you really want it to stand out without doing a ton of layers, I use a little black. So I'm going to do that right now. See how sharp this bad boy is comparatively? And it's not even, anyway. If you read all the books, even that one that I showed earlier about the crayons, um, the Crayola crayons there, it talks about sharpening your crayon all the time. And I don't mean the sharpener, the plastic one that comes in the box. It's saying to use a metal one. It's saying to use a, you know, a metal one that has a thicker end, a thicker one and a middle one. Night, Veronica? Middle one. A thicker side and a thinner side. You know what I mean, Vern. So just in the, you know, the darker, whatever I'm blending here, I just think it really pops it. Now, maybe you wouldn't want to do that if you were shading a, you know, something fancy that you drew. But for me, I don't know if you're supposed to do the darkest first. I don't usually add black until somewhere in the middle. But we can try over here to do a black layer first to see what happens. And then I'll take my darker color again, which I think is, I always keep something here. I'm just trying to make sure that I have the right one. Night, Linda. So I'm trying to pull it. See how I do this stroke? I pull it out a little bit, or you can cross hatch it that way. Or like I say, you can do tiny circles. Try them all. Try them all. See what works best for you. I don't think there's any right or wrong way. I just think it's my personal opinion, but I'm definitely not an expert, my friends. I just know from practicing. Uh, Maybe it depends. I think my friend Janet said that once that whether you do round, you know, you do the little tiny circles, or you do cross hatching, or straight up and down like this. And I'm always moving my pencil up and down. Um, Maybe it depends on the texture that you're going for. All right, so now I shaded that dark. Now I gotta go back in with the mid color here. And I'm pretty much going right over the dark that I just put down. Pull it out a little bit. Now, see what I mean? I'm taking quite a bit of time. How long have I done this particular one? I might have already spent 10 minutes doing this particular thing. Uh, all right, so that looks pretty good like that. So now I'll go with my color, which is back to the violet. So the color that's, you know, closest to the starting one. I mean, you can do this with all pencil, but with your wash. And I'm going to pull that back out. I'm going to color the whole thing, of course, to get a smooth finish. But now I'm going to blend that lighter color back in. All right. See what I mean? Keep pulling it out. What do you think? Does that make sense? Did I make it look easy? Did I make it look hard? Believe me, if I can do it, if I can learn how to do this, you can for sure. Like I said, when I was in, I didn't take any art. I keep saying the same thing. I didn't take any art. Night Janice, I probably missed her. I didn't take any art even in high school, past grade 8. So I don't know what's right or wrong. And, you know, that's what they say, sometimes ignorance is bliss. So, but when I used to color, if I had the way I thought you were supposed to do it. Let me see, here's a, right? I thought, okay, I'm going to take this pencil and I do a hard, I outline it in a hard, now I'm getting messy with it because I'm trying to be too fast. But I outline it with a dark color and then I go like this. This is all I thought doing pencils were, how I used it. And I would probably do the hard way, be hard, like, that's what I thought. This was the most experience I ever had with my Laurentian pencil crayons in school. That's how I thought you colored. Well, maybe that's okay to color that way if you want to do it. Don't get me wrong. So this whole world, this coloring book world is really new for me. Let me go back. Yeah, that's a mid color. Um, you know, but I've been practicing a lot, or at least I think is a lot, and I'm really enjoying it and learning how to do it. But it's just back and forth. And like I said, sometimes for me anyways, it's addictive because I have to feel like, oh, it's not perfectly blended. But and then the lightest color just looks like up here I don't quite have an even color on it, which is important to if you when you're coloring with marker, right? If I'm coloring one of these bad boys that has marker, for example, this is only half shaded. You don't have to shade everything either. But you see where I've gone over the marker twice, right? Like where I colored it, there's some darker spots. That then I would choose at my lightest color. I would choose one that matched that darker spot or close to it, and I would make it Nightwind, so I could make it. You know, I can blend out or cover those streaks from the marker. All right, so this is the lightest one. Yeah. Some people burnish with white. I don't know. Sometimes I add white, but maybe not for this particular one. So I'm going to do the middle because this one is more of an even coverage, right? And I would just go through the whole thing. Sometimes, so here's is this black? Yeah. You know, I'll color, or at least the base color. See, I'm going too dark right there. Always gotta make sure to remember to turn my pencil. Because it kind of keeps it sharp, right? Before, what I was doing was I would color for a while, right? And I'd keep coloring, and then all of a sudden I'd turn my pencil and I would get this dark line. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? But that's because I wasn't turning my pencil enough, right? See that? I wasn't turning it enough, so I would get a real hard edge on one side and a not so hard edge on the other side. And does that make sense? So I do have to remember to turn them enough. But sometimes if I'm coloring a mandala, for example, I'll do all the black first. I'll go around, color every spot. Rather than going like here, petal by petal. If you consider this a petal. I'm not sure what you consider these. So I'll do a thin layer of black all the way around, or whatever color I'm starting with. And black grape, yeah. And I'll go over, right? So I'll use the same pencil. Now I'm being fast. The same pencil for all of them. But sometimes, that gets a little crazy. So mostly I like to do each one separately. Or else sometimes I forget which color I'm on. Know what I mean, Vern? So starting with this, wash is helpful because you don't have to put down a bunch of layers, the lightest layers first to cover the tooth of the paper, if that makes sense. If you're just coloring on straight paper, right? It's going to take me a while to build up my pencil, right? So that the tooth is, and you may never do it apparently from some of the books that I'm learning. Um, right? Might not ever get into the tooth. So if you're using a marker or like as Didi uses some craft paint wash, or it fills in the tooth of the paper, right? Does that make sense? Know what I mean, Vern? Oh, that's awesome, Jean. Blondie Jean. Now, I've lost which page. Oh, there we go. One way I'm trying to practice too is when I first started doing this coloring business, I thought you had to go every layer, start with the black, go out, and then say this darker color, you know, do it right from, I go over the darkest color, right? And then if I do the next color, I would go over that first color, right? But what I'm trying to do now is learn, let's see, I'll do one over here. Here's a black, right? I've already got a little black on there. You don't have to use black. You can whatever darkest color you want. I just think on these things that really gives it a three-dimensional look on these type of mandalas. So the first, oh, color outside the lines. Look out. So I'll go with my darkest color. And because of, the black, I do want to cover up, I do try to cover up the whole black. But, so I'll do some cross hatching here. So what I've been practicing is building up the color that I want in the first, and like I said, I don't know what's right or wrong. This is just what I'm working on now. So this is the darkest color other than black. I just keep building up. See, I didn't turn my pencil there. I got a dark spot. Until I get the deepest color. Obviously, I haven't gone as deep as that yet, but for the sake of demonstration, what I've been working on lately, how many times have I said that already? So I'll pull that out. This is the darkest color, and what I've been practicing is taking the next color, and rather than going from all the way to from the bottom all the way to the top, I've just been learning how to blend those two colors there at the joint, where where they join. This would be a joint where they overlap, right? So just the light pressure where they overlap, and then I'll build that color, that middle color, to however far I want, however far I want uh, that middle color to be. So I'm just blending that edge right there rather than going from bottom all the way to the top. Again, I don't know what's right or wrong. I don't know if any of this is right or wrong. Just what I'm playing around with. And then, so that was the mid color. So now I'm taking the lightest color, and just blending that edge in. Again, rather than going from top to bottom. Know what I mean, Vern? Does that make sense? Heck, sometimes I do all three techniques at the same time. So, in the same section. But yes, it does take patience. You are right, Miko. So now that I blended that, I need to go back into that middle color, the black cherry, and see, this is where I get obsessive because I say, okay, that's not enough blending there. I'm just doing small cross hatches. So I want to blend that out. And then I'm thinking, okay, it needs to be darker. That's not the darkest color. Need is a strong word. You can be as fussy or not as fussy. My vocabulary is on point tonight. On point. So back to the darkest. And I mean, I can even see the black is deeper there. So if I had black in here now, right in this corner, it's really going to deepen it up. Make it pop. So like I said, that's just what I'm working on now. I don't know again what's right or what's wrong or what, but um, I'm enjoying practicing, enjoying finding out. Back to the middle. See, look, I just lied. I'm just combining techniques again. When I say cross hatch, I'm putting my pencil that way sometimes and then that way in the next layer. Awesome, Rain. She says I've inspired her to shade the page or coloring. Awesome. And like I say, you don't have to color the whole page or shade the whole page, right? I don't feel that I need to shade the whole page, just whatever looks good. Are you coloring out of this particular book, Rain? The happiness one? I know you have it. And that middle color is strange, especially now that I got there. I don't know if you can see it. I can really tell that it's more red than the purples I'm using here. The other two colors. Especially when you do it this way. You can really, can you tell that middle color is more reddish? Hey, Pam. Let's see. Did I even... I can't remember. I obviously didn't even do that particular side with the middle median color. Doesn't look like it anyways. Doesn't look like it. Can't talk coloring. Night, Allie. Everybody in the East Coast is getting ready for bed. The Eastern time zone, that is. So let me see. Let me show you what happens if I go for a little heavier touch. But like you see, if you go for a light touch, it's just back and forth and, you know, till you get the blend that you want. And still I don't think it's deep as dark as that one. So go back to my black. Alright. I mean, I can go on, right? To try, I obviously haven't shaded over here either. Hey, Glenda. So let's press a little bit harder down here and see what happens, right? So see, I'm pressing not as hard, not my hardest, right? I'm not pressing the hardest I can do. That's hard because I've trained myself to really put pressure in one way. What's that, is that the right word? I've trained my hand, muscle memory to always color with the same pressure. That's what I'm talking about. So this is the little darker of a color. I want to bring some of that black up there. I just heard something funny outside my door. I hope the dogs haven't got into anything. You know, heavier pressure doesn't say it's good or bad. I guess it just depends on what you're looking for. Yeah, I saw Glenda at Joyce's earlier. Did you did you watch it, Jean? Or Glenda? Did you watch the recording? Oh my goodness. The pug. I'm still can't get over the pug coloring book. Mandalas. Look, see, this is what I'm coloring right now. It's amazing. There really is a coloring book out there for everyone. There really is. Pug mandalas. How can it be more perfect? I mean, I loved everything, don't get me wrong. I love that Paris book. I was showing Simon, who got me the original Secret Paris, how like it's a companion book to it. And so let's go for that middle color. So obviously I'm doing a heavier pressure. I mean, I'm still not going like the fullest uh what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going as hard as I possibly can put. Oh my gosh. I'm losing my vocabulary over here. A little bit of brain fog. But I'm definitely pressing a lot harder than obviously these particular ones. And maybe this is what, you like the look of, but it gets more shiny really fast, that's for sure. All right, and I need right here, I need to sharpen my pencils. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm using the wrong one. I'm putting the darker one. Rats! Serves me right for looking up at the chat while coloring. While reaching for a pencil, I should say. Oh, it's really hard. My hand, because of muscle memory, my hand just wants to go back. And that's why the more you practice, the easier it gets, right? But my hand wants to go back to the pressure that I'm used to doing. I just colored outside the lines. Ah, well. So yeah, I mean, you can go a little bit heavier handed and get a similar shade. Like Jillian, if that makes, I don't know if you can see a difference. I see a difference. Can you see a difference? The problem with a heavier hand, like right now, I brought it up too far. So the difference, no, that's not the right words. What am I trying to say? I brought that middle color up too far. But that middle color is really red. It's less purple than it is red. That's I guess why it's called black cherry. So I mean we can layer pen, like I can go back in with this the lightest one and make it more purple. So you know what I mean? You can just all depends. I can't get as smooth of a blend if I put this much pressure on it. Uh, if that makes sense. And that's where you get the little crumblies. That's where you start to see, bits of your pencil come off, or you can move it around. You know what I mean, Vern? What's this? Black grape. So already it's super shiny and, you know, but not saying that you can't, that it looks bad, or you can't do that with your going. Can you see that? But you see there's a lots of shine. If I go back up to here, I mean there's gonna be shine, right? But it's smooth. I'm gonna get and of course I haven't gone over it as much. Like Julie, it's a lot darker, but maybe if I chose lighter colors it would have been lighter. And then if I went over this with white, let's see what happens. Let's see if I burnish it with white. That's French gray. Do I have a white that's sharpened? A white, this one? Nope. Not sharpened. One that's sharpened. Oh, it's hardly sharpened. Hardly. I smell garlic, like somebody's making garlic bread. It's pretty late at night to make some garlic bread. I just sharpen it off to the side here. All right, with a handheld. So if I go back to this, well, there's not much I can do with blending this bad boy. But you can burnish with white. But because I use such a heavy hand, I don't have as much color variation. Night, Suzanne. So does that make any difference to you? Can you see a difference? I can burnish this one with white. I don't always burnish with white, to be honest. It's actually very rare these days. Um, I end up burnishing with the lightest color, but I'll do some white here. I think this is what some people would do with a blending pencil. But see, it's making it look more opaque, and I pressed too hard there. I pressed too hard. I get a serious wax buildup over here. Can you see a difference? Which one do you like better? Up here, down here? I'd like to have a consensus. Well, I'd like to, not a consensus. So over here, I've gone over, well, anywhere I've put color down, right? I end up going over the line of the coloring book page, especially down here, for example. I went over pretty heavy. So if I take, this is a Prismacolor Verithin. They're very thin. Verithin. This is a black, and it's a very fine, thin. The core is very thin compared to the regular Prismacolors, and it's harder. But I really like to go back over, where I've kind of gone. What happens is the color pencil is making the black kind of milky, if that makes sense. That's the best word I can describe it. And using this Verithin, you can really push it back to the black. I don't know if you can see a difference. Same over here. And you can use a harder touch. I ended up using a little bit harder touch. It's usually the last thing I do, right? Because I would end up shading or coloring all those first. But it really helps to make it pop again. Especially with coloring. I'm talking about just coloring books right now. Right? Well, I haven't shaded that bad boy. I haven't finished shading this one either. So I'm not sure if you learned anything, if this was interesting or not. But Miko likes how the white blends everything together. For example, I didn't put any white over here, but if I put that lightest color I was using, right, the original color of violet, and I burnish with violet rather than, well, I don't like how that looks over there. I'm putting way more pressure than I normally would, and my hand is like saying, that's wrong. You need to go back to going light. But you can burnish with the same, that lightest color, bring it up, and it'll look a little bit more smooth and more cohesive. You know what I mean, Vern? But sometimes, see, if I don't have enough white, or if the tip's not light enough, right, I can bring it back a little bit with the white. I mean, you gotta be really careful with that. Oops, not even on camera. You gotta be careful with that, because next thing you know, you get too much of a buildup of wax. And that's why I say I like I'm enjoying the process, this blending process with my oil-based pencils, which are the Polychromos and the Pablos, because I find I can blend this a lot quicker. I'm not saying you get a better or different result. Like, yeah, I think you end up with the same result, but it just seems it's a different feel. Just a different feel. But anyways, you gotta practice what you like to do, what you like the look of, how much you want to blend. Night, Patty? Yeah, I'm about to go there myself. So I'll finish this up, show you what, but it's sure nice to use the pencils, right? The watercolor pencils that are the similar color to the ones that you're going to use, the Prismacolors that you have. And the watercolor pencils, I don't think come in very many, excuse me, very many colors. I want to say it's 24 is the largest set. Whereas like there's some Faber-Castell pencils, watercolor, water soluble pencils that have like all 72 colors. So, but I'll color some of these more. Now I'm frustrated with this because I burnished it with white. Looks too milky. But anyways, it's all about what you like the look of and how you enjoy your coloring. And I just wanted to show some of the things that I do, that what I've learned, you know, by practicing. And I hope you guys practice too. I appreciate everybody being here. Hopefully I didn't enable you too much on books and pencils and crayons. uh, right? Pauline is out in full force. Pauline is a combination of Paula and Eileen. Our friend Joyce has coined a new term. So be back on Saturday for Stencil Saturday. Do some art journaling. Well, during my pre-chat, I start at 9. I put down these napkins that look like watercolor. Just over, I had some acrylic spray here from acrylic ink, Liquitex acrylic ink. This is some Bic marks it, alcohol markers. So this will be fun to paint and work. It just looks good like this, in my opinion. But anyways, hopefully somebody learned something. You enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed your company. And I shall see you Saturday night. Thanks, everyone.